Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Universal Pathways, a show brought to viewers worldwide, right here on Saturdays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Millennium News 24. Viewers can download the Millennium TV News app on your iPhone, App Store, Google Play Store. For all Android devices, you can also watch us live on Roku, Apple TV, LG Smart TV, Sony Blu-ray, Amazon Fire TV, Samsung Smart TV, Horizon Satellite Beyond Boundaries, or go to our website at www.millenniumtv24.com. Today, I have with me in the studio Dr. Roxanne Simone Lord Marcel, who's here today to share with us and our viewers her perspective on life and also speak about some of the books she authored, such as Cheat Death and Live and Financial Freedom by Faith. Just want to give a brief introduction of who she is. Dr. Lord Marcel is a board-certified doctor of naturopathy and iridologist based in Jamaica, Queens, New York since 2017. She has been practicing holistic and preventative medicine, focusing on natural healing modalities such as iridology, analyzing the iris to assess organ health, pH balancing, and carbohydrate monitoring. Her specialties include addressing inflammation, fatigue, stress, detoxification, weight management, diabetes, cancer, eczema, early onset dementia, Parkinson's disease, and erectile dysfunction. Dr. Lord Marcel operates out of the Inspire New York Wellness Center, which also houses the Mother Earth Juice Bar Cafe. Recently, she opened the Mother Earth Juice Bar at JFK Airport Terminal 8, offering herbal remedies, tonics, and supplements aimed to promoting optimal health. Beyond her clinical practice, Dr. Lord is the founder of Royal People Group, a nonprofit organization dedicated to reducing health and wealth disparities among communities of people of African descent right here in North America, the American islands, also called the Caribbean, and beyond. The organization hosts mountain retreats in upstate New York, where they developed a healing retreat center and farm on 30 acres of scenic land. Dr. Lord Marcel is also an author. Her book, Cheat Death and Live, offers guidance on mental, physical, and spiritual practices for longevity. Additionally, she's known for her Power Shot, a wellness tonic that has gained popularity throughout the Queens community and beyond. I'm truly honored to be here with my good sister Dr. Lord Marcel. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the introduction and
for
being here.
It is truly my honor and my pleasure. If there's anything that I've not said, please just give us a brief aspect of your background just to kind of fill in on some of that stuff. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, I'm better known as Dr. Lord. I'm in the business. My background is in redemption, actually. It's a ministry of healing through naturopathic, Ayurvedic, homeopathy, all of these modalities to heal the whole self, the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Wow.
So through my specialty, iridology, which is the study of the irises, yes, I'm able to gauge past trauma, physical trauma, disease, operations, surgeries, illness, past, present, and future. Because as I look into the irises, it gives me an indication of the patterns that one has in the body, that shows me what's going to happen if we don't fix it.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Patterns in the body. It's just interesting that you mentioned patterns in the body, but I see a connection. You've done a lot of work throughout Queens, but ministry plays a huge part in your background. How did you get involved in ministry? Just to kind of, before we get into the books, how did you get involved in ministry?
So it started in around 2006. I was always trying to get a better life for my two children. At the time, I was a single mom in Brooklyn, and I was seeking enlightenment, and I was looking for God. So when you look for enlightenment, when you look for God, He shows up. Yeah, you look hard enough, He shows up. So He shows up, and He came into my life in a very intimate relationship fashion, where I started hearing from God, hearing His voice, and understanding that I was chosen for a special purpose to lead some of His children, particularly youth of the African diaspora.
Yes.
So this is how I came into ministry.
Wow. So there's definitely a calling, an anointing on your life. You've done a lot. So much so. I mean, I spent some time reading your books, and it's just tremendous. You have a huge footprint. You've met the likes of Barack Obama. You've been in the White House. You started the Chamber of Commerce in Southeast Queens.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. You're just a mover and a shaker throughout the Queens community, and it's truly an honor to be here with you today.
Thank you.
Patterns. You're in ministry. How many books?
So I believe it's 5 books.
5 books.
Yes.
Wow. And I just want you to really speak to the 5 books somewhat, and what really inspired you to write these books. So clearly you have a call on your life. You're doing God's mission, as well as you were a single mother, and you've been married twice, and condolences to your late past husband, Mr. Marcel.
Yes.
I just want to honor him in regards to that. Hopefully, he could speak to just some of the inspiration, how he inspired you and what you're currently doing. But just speak to the books for the most part, just to open up so one could really see the impact that you're now doing.
Well, my latest baby, as I call them, because they feel like babies, you kind of push them out.
Yes.
So, this baby, Cheat, Death, and Live, offers keys to plant medicine, healing via plant medicine, healing trauma, mental, physical, and spiritual trauma as well. People undergo that as well.
Yes.
So it shows you how to heal from that, and offers practical solutions and plant protocols for when you have different ailments that you're dealing with.
Uh-huh.
So that book is really resonating really highly with a lot of people in terms of healing the mind, the body, and the spirit simultaneously. So it's one of those books that you read again, and that's why I put it in hardcover, because it is a special book, and it's dedicated to Martin Marcel, my husband that just recently transitioned. So I just dedicate that to him, because he was just a wonderful man of God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. You're well studied. You're a reverend. You're a naturopathic doctor. For the book that you mentioned, Cheat, Death, and Live, you wrote these words: the best is yet to come. And I met you in January at the airport, the very kiosk that you have. We were actually on the way to Arizona, and it was truly an honor meeting you, because at that time I was utilizing olive leaf extract, and you yourself had a version of the olive leaf extract that I had to get. Yes. So herb truly make a difference in people's life. What is the major difference, would you say, that naturopathic doctors bring to our world as opposed to the allopathic?
So the main difference, and thank you, for saying that of all the books that I've written and stuff. Thanks for the accolades, and you as well. I know you're well studied as well. So um, the difference that I see mainly is, well, one, we try not to fear, not to instill fear.
Yes.
We don't want to instill fear into our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So another difference is that I don't have patients, I have clients.
Okay.
So MDs have patients, and for the most part, a lot of them, the patients are pretty afraid when they get that diagnosis,
Yes.
because they are made to feel as if there's no hope,
Mm-hmm.
and that they have like 6 months to live, or to go on pharmaceuticals for the rest of their life,
Mm-hmm.
or invasive surgeries.
Yes.
So, but the good news is that there's always a naturopathic protocol.
Okay.
And so clients, patients, they need to find that also, to find the balance.
Yes.
So, and right now, the good news again is that integrative medicine
Yes.
is the key
Yes.
for the future, really, because there are some skills I don't have,
Mm-hmm.
such as surgery.
Yes.
Okay, I am not qualified. I didn't study that. But the MDs, they study that, and so they are qualified. The skills I have that the MDs don't have is that iridology is really, truly a great method of finding out exactly to the point
Wow.
what's going on internally
Mm-hmm.
without fancy complicated equipment. The eyes have those marks, the irises have marks,
Yes.
and the history and the veracity is really, really, truly well documented.
Okay.
So there's no error, not much error at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives a better pathway to healing.
So, Dr. Lord, please, Dr. Lord Marcel, speak to us a little bit about what is the background, what's the history of iridiology? Yeah, because for those who might be hearing this word for the first time. Yes.
So iridology is the study of the irises. I'm studying the dark part of the
Yes.
eyes, and I study the marks in there now. It was developed, or when was that? 1700s.
Okay.
And there's one doctor that stood out,
Uh-huh.
and that's a minister. Actually, he was a minister first,
Wow.
and then he became a MD.
Yes.
And the reason why he became an MD is because the invention of iridology was like being birthed.
Okay.
And so he wanted to make sure he got really educated right, less, they call you a quack,
Mm-hmm.
because you're telling people that you can see from their eyes
Yes.
what's going on inside of them. So that leads the way to be ridiculed sometimes.
That's right.
People will say, well, what are you, a magician? I mean, what type of dark art
Mm-hmm.
is that? So that's why he went to school and became an MD,
Wow.
so that they don't say that. So you recognize
Yes.
that these marks are worth studying.
Mm-hmm.
So they did. They had
Okay.
no choice but to recognize it, because he had the credentials as a surgeon, So that was von Pexzily. It's probably Pexzily. It's like Peczely. So I think it's but it's definitely like a German type, one of those names. So, but he was a great man of God, and he was one of the grandfathers of iridology, and he found out about iridology because he found an owl,
Mm.
and the owl, when he was a young man, the owl fell in his backyard,
Yes.
and he noticed right away that as the owl was laying there broken and the legs were broken, that their marks came up automatically that
Mhm.
weren't there. So certain trauma causes marks in the irises.
Wow.
So if you have liver trauma, some people drink a lot, and so their liver might be compromised,
Okay.
or even kidneys because of the extreme alcohol use,
Mhm.
or maybe even strong pharmaceuticals, yes,
Yes.
and
yes.
also like hard drugs, narcotics. So I can actually see that. if there's like all of that going on in the eyes.
Wow. Well, thank you for that beautiful explanation. It's very important for us to really know that, because many times trust becomes the issue where ones might not necessarily know what it is that they're dealing with. But like you said, he has a background in ministry, but he wanted to make sure that he's not at variance with any laws and recognition.
Yes.
It's one thing to do the work and no one wants to be labeled a quack. Right?
There we go.
Yes, because unfortunately, a lot of times when one becomes demonized, the very people who set out to do the work might be misunderstood. So thank you so much for that clarity. Which brings me to this point. Well-educated people have teamed up to do some great things. You mentioned the people of African descent, right? And as I was studying your book and as I speak to you, I see where your late husband had 3 degrees.
Yes.
3 master degrees. He was heavy in accounting, and you've now, along with him and others, started the Southeast Queens Chambers of Commerce. What is the intention that you and him, possibly when you all ventured out, was hoping to see materialize? And what have you done? And what do you see the future now, bringing forth as it pertains to that? Can you speak to that somewhat?
Yes.
Yes.
So we saw a chamber of commerce that is dedicated to people of color. We call it the BIPOC.
Wow.
Black, Indigenous, people of color.
Wow.
Because our main mission is to end disparities in health and wealth.
Yes.
And to level the playing field for people of color. So to this end, we started the Southeast Queens Chamber of Commerce, to unite people of color, the BIPOC, and also for access to government support, elected officials, contact with our elected officials. We should know them.
Yes.
And have relationships so that, we can help further the community's development. So for economic development, for community development, for access to capital, and also for that access to the elected officials. These are some of the reasons why we created the Southeast Queens Chamber of Commerce.
That is beautiful. There you have it. She's very active. She wears many hats. She's in the community, and she's continuing a legacy with all the different organizations that she spearheaded right here in New York by way of her organization, Inspire New York. With that being said, I definitely want to touch base a little bit more with Dr. Lord Marcel as it pertains to just even hearing a little bit about her family, her children, etc., and just, some of the other ventures as we get a little bit more deeper. But we'll be right back after this commercial. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Hello viewers, you are watching Millennium News 24. America and global villages seen America independence built by immigrants, manufacturers, roads, highways, educations, healthcare, IT, scientists, space, business development to all thousands of multimedia and all major social media platforms and news network in America. Millennium News 24, one of truthfully news networks in America and global news organizations. Please watch, follow and subscribe. We are in iOS and Android devices, Roku, Amazon, Apple devices, all smart TV, globally Horizon satellite, social media Millennium News 24, Millennium TV 24. Website www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Universal Pathway. I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Ill. I'm in the studio today with Dr. Lord Marcel. And, prior to the break, she spoke about just the impact that she's having in Queens as it pertains to the Chamber of Commerce. But I really wanted to speak a little bit as well as it pertains to her family. She's not only a mother of children, but actually I went to her store right there on Sutton Boulevard in Queens, and I was able to meet her 13-year-old grandson, a very bright young man. I must say, to just the wisdom that I heard, as I went in there to meet up with her, just following up from meeting her at the airport. I took a friend in there, and I really wanted to get some more herbs and different things of that nature. And he was well educated as it pertains to the products that are in her location. So you have Mother Earth Juice Bar.
Yes.
What inspired the juice bar? And just speak as well, just to how you have your beautiful family involved in that as well.
Okay, well, thank you for mentioning Matthew's my only grandson. So I'm very proud of him, and he just graduated too from middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that. Matthew and all of them, they know the herbs. They know, I've been teaching them. I have 3 of them that I'm teaching right now, and they all know how to take good care of the customer, the
Yes.
clients. I think it's important that we teach our children from early
Yes.
and our grandchildren, because we have to be able to pass on the knowledge.
Okay.
So Matthew is actually the one that I am teaching iridology to.
Oh, wow.
So he has some limited knowledge already on the subject matter, and also in terms of being like a healer, an influencer, and a world transformer. So we have to be able to instill this in our children, else they will not know. Because right now, as you see in certain parts of the nation, Black youth are dying
Mhm.
in the streets. Gang violence, gun violence is right now is rampant.
Yes.
And so we as parents, grandparents, and all those out there who are even great grandparents,
Uh-huh.
there comes a time, which is now, that we have to make sure that the youth are well prepared for all that's coming.
Yes.
So I don't want to scare anybody, but it's a
Understood.
lot of war, going on right now. There are a lot of viruses out there. So we have to be prepared to heal each other. We have to be prepared to know what to do in the event of an emergency. So emergency preparedness, healing modalities, herbs, even knowing people, even people having a place to come to when there's an emergency.
Yes.
All of these things are very important
Most definitely.
so that we can survive.
Uh-huh.
So we want survival of our species. We want survival of the race. We want our youth to know that they are kings and queens, as opposed to bangers,
Yes,
as
yes.
opposed to being susceptible to people approaching them on the streets for different things,
Mhm.
including indecency.
Yes. Most definitely.
Because right now a lot of there's a lot of bad influences on our children. Families are under attack. Okay, they're attacking our children even from the womb.
Uh-huh.
The womb of the Black woman. It's a place of like war,
Wow.
especially the young Black woman right now.
Yes.
That's like a place where scary things are happening.
Mhm.
And we have to learn to understand that this is happening, and to try to shape our reality differently.
Mhm.
So that leads me to be ye transformed
Yes.
by the renewal of your
Okay.
mind. Because a lot of people are stuck in that way, the way that kills.
Wow.
And we don't want to die out. We want to, perpetuate, we want to continue the legacy of royalty. The Lord wants us to know who we are, that we are royal.
Yes.
But unfortunately, a lot of youth don't know.
That is
So
so
it's
true.
up to us to really teach them who they really are, and that they have a legacy and that they have an inheritance.
Wow. Everything you said is actually in line with the discussion that, you know, we as Moors, we meet, you know, with the United Moor Science of America at least once the first Friday of the month. And the very subject matter you spoke about is what we spoke about last night.
Wow.
Just the importance of mothers, the importance of the youth. And we have to watch the bent inclination. You know, we got to help them to basically be on that path
Mm.
from early. And the very beings who we bring here on the planet depend upon us. So we teach that the mother is the first teacher.
Yes.
And just to hear the work that you're doing, just even to have a Mother Earth juice bar,
Yes.
you know, and just being of that feminine energy, that sincerely love and care for humanity. I
Yes.
truly do see the work that you're doing is just very vast. And you being of that family nature, that community, that culture, cultivating is pretty profound. The 5 books, do you see yourself writing more books? Also, just connect the books now with the retreats, because you also do these spiritual retreats, beautiful spiritual retreat. You haven't really opened up yet about what's going on there in upstate New York.
Yeah.
And just what is the vision that surrounds that?
Well, yes, I'm writing new books. I have a lot of books in me actually, and it's just about finding time. We all do, by the way. People have books in them, our stories, our imagination,
Yes.
and also to manifest things into fulfillment. So, yeah, I have some books coming out. The books right now, though, are enough to help people to transform their minds. There are, to be honest, being stuck right now in life. Some
Uh-huh.
people are stuck. A lot of people are stuck. There's a lot of people who see themselves as broke, and they call themselves as broken and sick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we have to change. That's something that you can change immediately. You have to call it as it is.
Yes.
So if you call yourself broke, you will be broke. So you have to you have to see that you are rich in the Lord and in his mighty power.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that you're rich in the Lord and you say those words, I am rich in the Lord and in his mighty power, it causes a shift, a mindset shift. And with that shift in the mindset, you position yourself for prosperity instead of brokenness.
Wow.
So people really got to pay attention to that, because we have the power, it's already within us.
Yes.
To manifest all that we need. And then the Lord is saying that he shall supply all your needs according to his riches and glory.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to pull that. So many faiths, through Jesus Christ, through Islam, or whatever your faith is. But you have to know that you have that ability to manifest all your heart's desires by speaking it. Just the same power that God has into speaking things into existence. We actually have that same power. But because we don't recognize that we have that power, because we perceive ourselves, some of us, as broke.
Yes.
So if you're broke and sick, you might not be able to manifest. So you have to be well
Yes.
to manifest.
That's right. You heard it, being broke and being sick. So a part of the whole idea of being broke and being sick, it just really speaks to the fact that there are areas in our lives that need correcting. And one of your book kind of speak to that in so many ways, whether it be broke financially or whether it be disease infested because we've been exposed to trauma. We're post-slavery. So the people of melanated hue are still carrying a lot of that trauma coming out of slavery, right? We're also carrying the fact that we're not connected to the land anymore. We're not eating our own right foods. So it's a beautiful thing to have naturopaths among us who have an idea of the herbs, who can now create retreats. I used to always love the word real treat.
Yeah.
Not just retreat, going back to something, but going back to the land. Yes, but have a real treat. The knowledge and the information. So you mentioned speaking the word. And I love your name, Dr. Lord Marcel. The word Lord, in essence, means master. So it's like saying Dr. Master. And what it is that we're mastering are the principles of life. And as we receive these principles, whether it be from a Moorish perspective, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, or whatever religion, and that's the whole idea, universal pathway. There's only one great God, called by many names. So some might say Allah, some might say Thoth, some might say Jehovah, some might say Buddha, some might say Krishna, various different school of thought. But as we now have these thinking, these thoughts, what do we do with the thought? Is the thought uplifting to the collective? Is the thought uplifting to the community? Is the thought uplifting to the very sister that the brother now take to be his wife? So it goes back to that nucleus, the family. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to see a sister with a company, a juice bar by the name of what? Mother Earth, connecting by Inspire New York, i.e. wellness. So reminds me of a conversation that Jesus had with the woman at the well. He said, if you know who it is that speak, you, the woman listening, would ask, and spring of living water would flow from where? Inside of you. Like she said, inspiration. It says that men spoke from God as they were what? Inspired by the Holy Spirit. So inspiration comes from within. But when we get inspiration, there are things that we must do practically. You have to find the right people. Ones who will not breathe illness upon our ideas. Right? So those ideals that we have are like those seeds. So what do we need now? The right soil.
Amen.
So you speak about the land. You speak about connecting back to the land. This beautiful sister have what? 30 acres. 30 acres. That's a blessing.
Well, the church, not me.
But you govern the church, right? Along with others.
The Lord governs
yes,
the church.
The Lord governs the church.
It belongs to the Lord.
Well said. Like it says, and for those who are Christian based, who might be listening to us, let me keep it in the right context. God is the head of the man, which basically Christ is the head of the church, right? And Christ is the head of the man, and the man is the head of the woman, meaning that there's a relationship between the one now who pretty much get the directive from the source, God. So now that the director have the ability to go into the garden, he must now go and work that land. So man was given the opportunity to go work the land. That land is called earth. There's the process of birth called be earth. Like you said, speak the word, be earth. So now we call that now the birthing process. So we must now work with the womb, because it is you who give birth. And that's really what I'm saying, my sister. Right? So the brother might have the direction to go plant the seed, but he needs some earth. He needs a good sister. He needs a good womb. He needs a good woman, right? Because when you have light, you have to place it in the unseen. He said the light shine in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended not. So we have a yin and yang flow of knowledge, information. That's what we call this, what? Universal pathway. Potato, potato, called by many names. We all have different perspective. I remember the story of the elephant. One described an ear. Another one described the elephant as a tusk. The other one described the elephant as, the feet. But we all want to see the whole elephant. So it's very important that we gain each other's perspective. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because like in iridiology, the focus is the eye. But it's not these two eyes. It is the eye within. Some might call it the third eye. Some might call it the first eye. But it's that eye within. In Hindustan, you see one with a little dot on their forehead. There's a light that's inside of all of us. Let your light shine before men so they can see what? Your good work and glorify your Father. That divine thought, that spirit of God in you. And we came here to make the planet a better. So it's not a broken planet. It's what we do with it. Do not become mere hearers of the word.
Doers.
Becomes doers.
Yes.
So you've been a doer, my sister. That's all I'm simply acknowledging on the platform here today, right?
Okay.
On the
Thank
universal
you.
pathway. What are some additional things that you see yourself doing as you continue to be inspired by the great God?
Well, that's a big question, you know, and we serve a big God,
Yes.
and the Lord is always looking for people to work in the vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know, he's always calling on people, knocking on their door, knocking on their hearts, and you know, people ignore him. You know, they like, did you hear anything? No, I didn't hear that. But the Lord is calling some people today, every day.
Yes.
He's always knocking, and he's saying, you know, come on in, because a lot of people are so broke, but there's so much land. The Lord has so much to offer. So I just want to encourage people to step out, get out of their cage. That's actually one of the books that I wrote, Get Out of Your Cage, Keys to Freedom in All Areas of Your Life. I'm encouraging you right now to get out of your cage, your comfort zone, and to trust the Lord as your partner, as your angel investor, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you trust the Lord as your angel investor, you know, he shows up,
Yes, he does.
yeah, with resources and capital and people. You know, he knows a lot of people.
You mentioned meeting President Barack Obama.
Yes.
You also started a magazine, right? You also had a newspaper.
Yeah, that's how I met President Obama. That's how I went into the White House, because of that paper. It was called Around Town Magazine, and some people, when they hear this, they would remember it. But it took me into the White House, and it's, you know, that's how I say, you know, you can manifest a lot from your
Yes.
desire to help. God calls a lot of people, but a lot of people, they hold back. You know, they're afraid of their own shadow, afraid of their true potential.
Yes.
When the Lord sees you full of potential, he sees your worth. Man might not see your worth. There's, you know, there are a lot of haters that want, you know, the enemy came to steal, to destroy,
That's right.
and to kill.
That's right.
Literally.
That's right.
So that's what that's what he wants to do. But the Lord came, he sent a representative named Jesus, Yeshua, so that we can have life.
Yes.
So he wants you to have a life. You know, some people say, I don't have a life. You know, that means like I'm doing nothing. I'm stuck. I'm stagnant. And I'm broke. And I'm sick. I have no life, people say. When you say that, you just give air, you know, voice to the enemy's thoughts for you. So you have to speak life to yourself amidst the depression,
That's right.
amidst the mental trauma that you've been through. You have to rise up and speak life. Speak it the way you want it, so that it can manifest.
That's right.
That is your power
Yes.
as part of the kingdom.
Mhm.
When we are in the kingdom and we have powers that were given to us by the Most High. So it's time for us to rise now and to claim it, and stop acting like if we're like some kind of orphan or stepchild to the kingdom. You know, we're his true heirs. When you're a true heir or heiress, see, that's what I am.
That's
It's
right.
an heiress. And doesn't that sound much better than broke?
Yes, it does.
And let me tell you, my brother, I have to say this. Doesn't it sound better than BITCH? How about heiress? How about empress?
Teach, sister.
How about king?
Teach.
You could call yourself that.
Teach. Let them hear.
Yeah,
That's
it's
right.
much better than being a female dog. And people call themselves that, thinking it's cute. You know, it's not cute. You're a queen. You're from royal
Empress, that's
blood.
right. Empress.
Empress,
Indeed.
heiress,
Yes.
king,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So these are
Most
some of the titles that we have to call and use regularly with our people, so that we can remind them who they really truly are. So the more we call ourselves out of our names, we will get further and further away, you know, from our inheritance,
That
which
is
we
so
all have.
Yes.
So, you know, you can find me at Dr. Simone_Lord on Instagram. And, you know, I love my followers. I only have 5,000 now, but I like every one of those 5,000, because you learn from people who follow you. And also our website is Mother Earth Juice. And there you can learn more about the books and some of the products, the famous Dr. Lord's Power Shot, Energy Elixir. Now we have a new thing. It's our Soursop Elixir, And that is really, truly healing for people with cancer and sleep problems and central nervous system problems.
Well, I know she's going into like a wrap up, but for those viewing at home as well, you might have witnessed that we've had some technical difficulties here in the studio today. So I just want to speak to that a little bit and say thank you for your patience and just working with us as it pertains to this broadcasting. But here at the studio, they will let us know when we're close to that time. Normally we do go for about an hour, even if we start a little bit late. So again, thank you for your patience. So with that being said, I'm not letting Dr. Lord Marcel off the hook just yet. You know, we're going to go to another commercial, and do hold on as we come back. I have about a few more questions for Dr. Lord Marcel. I'm Curtis Douglas Ill, your host at Universal Pathway.
Hello viewers, you are watching Millennium News 24. America and global villages seen to America independence built by immigrants, manufacturers, roads, highways, educations, healthcare, IT, scientists, space business development to all thousands of multimedia and all major social media platforms and news network in America. Millennium News 24, one of truthfully news networks in America and global news organizations. Please watch, follow and subscribe. We are in iOS and Android devices, Roku, Amazon, Apple devices, all smart TV, globally Horizon satellite, social media Millennium News 24, Millennium TV 24. Website www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Thank you.
Welcome back to Universal Pathways. I'm your host, Curtis Douglas Ill. And today is truly an honor to be here in the studio with Dr. Lord Marcel, a naturopathic doctor. She's also a reverend. She wears so many hats and turbans. I'm truly just honored to really learn. The more I read her books, the more I study, I'm just seeing different dimension as to the possibility that our sisters have within them. It is said that the men are the directors and our sisters are those creators, because they are able to now receive the seed from the directive energy that the male role plays in this role of what? Life itself. And to have sisters among us who's able to receive what the great God Allah has put in store in their role, to really embrace it and take it to another level. Truly being connected, where ones now want to make a difference in their community first. She speaks about the people who looks like her. And that speaks volume, because many times it is said that we as a people, we don't get along. We don't help each other. And it's always said, like, when is this community of the so-called Black people going to come together? This so-called colored folks, etc. We know as Moors that they all have a nationality, and that as an empire prior, we civilize the world. We civilize Europe. And we're going to do that again. And we hear the civilization and that essence and that spirit when she speaks. So like it says, Mother Earth juice bar. There's a lot of juice coming through this conversation today. And I must say, and that's why I said we truly do just want to own it a little bit more on some of the stuff that you're really doing and making an impact. You've met the Obamas. You've met Oprah Winfrey as well?
No,
or worked
I
with?
Yes.
Worked with. I saw
yes,
you. Worked with and collaborated. You've been a part of expos. right? You've been working with the various different African fairs that came through Brooklyn and different places
Yes.
like that. You have your own brand of juices, a power shot.
Yes, the power shot is
Yes.
powerful.
Speak to that as a herbalist and not just as a naturopath, but a herbalist as well. Because now you putting, it says the herb is for the healing of the nation. And
Yes.
sure enough, a broken people, a diseased people need what? Healing.
Healing. However, the healing must come also to the mind, because if you heal the body and the mind is still sick, then it will just reinfect the wound and kill the body. So our healing must come from the Lord, first of all. And I'm speaking about healing, not just physically,
Yes.
financial healing, and spiritual healing, and mental healing. And we're talking about healing wounds that you may have gotten that wound at 12.
Mhm.
And sometimes it takes a trauma to remember that wound, that it was there and it had not healed. So, for example, there are a lot of people that have been taken from their country.
Yes.
So, even if we talk about slavery, which is something that needs to be spoken about frequently, because people need to know that the repercussions of slavery still exist through high blood pressure, through diabetes, through cancers, and through mental trauma, mental disease.
Mhm.
That mental disease is something that is really truly depression,
Yes.
low self-esteem. All of these things are ramifications of slavery. So we are predisposed to high blood pressure
Wow.
as a people. So that's why you see the severe health disparities in people of color. Is because we are wired to have high blood pressure. So, and I speak that as someone who I have to be very, very careful with my blood pressure, because I'm predisposed to it.
Wow.
My mom had it, my dad has it, okay, my husband had it. So, and because I'm a person that does so much work in different things,
Yes.
so I'm highly wounded.
Yes.
So people who are like that, they're predisposed to high blood pressure. So, for example, financial problems, poverty,
Yes.
the inability to pay your bills.
Yes.
These things, problems in your marriage, stemming from the inability to pay your bills.
Mhm.
All of these things cause us to lose time here on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
We can regain that time by one, learning to relax, learning to trust God, and to trust that He got you. He got you truly. By managing our thoughts better, by managing our money better, by not spending money on frivolous things.
That's right.
You really don't need the latest gadget or sneaker. You can practice saving, saving your money. So some of these things are just things that, truly we have inherited. If you were raised in a home where there was not enough food, where there was not enough love,
Yes.
enough money to pay the bills, you are predisposed to high blood pressure and diabetes.
Wow.
So now you have to transform your mind and your mindset by reclaiming your good health, by rewiring your habits, because habits form your life. So if your habit is to wake up every morning and smoke a cigarette,
Mm-hmm.
then that will shape your life, shortening your lifespan. So now you could replace the cigarette with a stick called miswak. So miswak is a stick that you chew on, and it's used in religious services. Islam uses it a lot in religious
That's
services.
right.
But that's one thing that you can put in your mouth instead of the cigarette. So some things like that, or beer. You can, instead of beer, you can have a green juice.
So substitute
Yeah,
better things for some of
Right.
the vices that one's been exposed to.
right. And again, if you wake up and you drink a bottle of soda, so soda is like gas to our body. It's very toxic.
Yes.
So the more soda you drink, and people just drink soda without caring. Especially I find, I don't want to call out anybody, so I'll just say people of color. People of color,
Yes.
Be it Spanish or black, a lot of people go for soda really fast, and that is destroying your body, your diabetes, everything.
Wow. From what I'm hearing, Dr. Lord Marcel speaks about, I definitely would want to schedule a part 2, to come on back. And also just the possibilities are tremendous. And she's already invited the temple, and we've sat at her location and truly getting to know what it is that she's doing. And I'm truly honored for that. And for those who needs to connect with you, you said 5 books. Can you actually just name the 5 books before we close out today?
The first book was The Last Castle in Brooklyn, and that's available on Amazon. And then there was Get the Desires of How to Manifest the Desires of Your Heart. It was a guide to prosperity. We also had Beyond Organic. We have Beyond Organic, which is doing really well at the airport as well.
Okay.
That one is about fundamentals in plant medicine and herbs and tonics, has recipes.
Yes.
And that's where I released the Power Shot. So Beyond Organic came out for the pandemic to help people to heal.
Wow.
So, some people are very stingy with their healing. Like they won't tell you what can help you.
Yes.
So I made the Power Shot so that it can help people. And it went viral.
Wow.
So everybody all over, they're making different variations of it. It's like a, ginger shot like no other.
Yes.
But the good news is that, although I released it, and a lot of people are copying it, and that's okay because it will heal you.
Yes.
But you can't copy anointing. And that's my major ingredient in the Power Shot.
I love that.
Yeah. You either have it or you don't to put it in.
That's right.
You can't put it in
No.
if you don't have the anointing.
Enough said.
Then the drink won't
Enough
be
said.
powered up.
Yes, that's right. It's about the intent. Yes, it's about the intent. It's about the engine, the vibration. Yes.
Absolutely.
Well said. So
Yeah.
you've named 3 so far, 3 books so far. The other 2, and I know
we have to Get Out of Your Cage,
yes.
Keys to Freedom, because some people are bound and shackled up to this day and they have no idea why. Got to change the mindset
That's right.
immediately.
That's right.
Change your mindset. Transform your life
Yes.
by changing your mindset. So.
And the last book, it has a orange color.
Oh,
Actually,
that baby.
yes.
I
I'm just
almost
gonna
forgot
reach-
that baby. That's Financial Freedom by Faith. And that's where you learn about the By Faith credit card.
Yes.
But Financial Freedom by Faith is definitely a book that will help you to overcome poverty and not having, which is something a lot of people, the BIPOC, we're well familiar with lack. Too familiar, we need to be familiar with abundance.
Yes.
And how to manifest abundance by speaking it.
Yes. This book here, Financial Freedom by Faith, A Guide to Prosperity by Dr. Roxanne Simone Lord Marcel, is a must read. It's a must have. And even last night, again, on the same call we spoke about, the United Moorish Science Temple of America, we spoke about the power of faithfulness. And, the National Grand Chief, Nathaniel Booth Hill, did a great job in discussing that. And to see you speak on the subject matter and actually walking in the subject matter as far as living it, your life, it's truly an honor to be here with you today. Again, I look forward to interviewing you again. This is Dr. Lord Marcel. Go to her social media, as she mentioned before. Get her books. Also, just the energy that she's putting forth in New York. Be supportive. Come on to something and see what is there. We're going to basically be working with her as well as the Moorish Science Temple of America, New York, to see what we can actually do in sitting down and be a part of that Chamber of Commerce that she and her late husband started. Again, honors to you and all the great work that you're doing. Thank you to our viewing audience who met with us here and be with us here. This is Universal Pathway right here at Millennium News 24 Network. We hope our listening audience has been edified and encouraged to live their best life despite the conditions that might be facing them. Challenges are a part of our fabric of life. We ought to prepare to meet them with wisdom we or others have passed on to us. Know that we are a global family and need to be better neighbors in our current and future interactions. Thank you to our audience for viewing and sharing with us this hour. Please share this broadcast with others you think may benefit. Peace and love to you all. I am Curtis Douglas Ill, and this is Universal Pathway. And again, my beautiful and very conscientious host, Dr. Lord Marcel. Peace and love to you all.